If you're a parent who sometimes questions yourself, then you're very welcome here. Parenting often brings up thoughts and feelings many of us are simply not prepared for. So, on this channel, we give a voice to the questions that often stay quiet and bring both reassurance and insight that make a difference on how it feels to parent. So, today's question then: am I damaging my child? If you've ever found yourself wondering, am I damaging my child? Well, the fact that you're asking that question already tells me something about you. It tells me that you care deeply about your child and about the kind of parents that you want to be. And parents who care enough to ask that question are usually the very parents who are doing far more right than they realise. I recognise, though, that that particular worry can still sit heavily in the background. So let's figure out together what's really happening when that thought appears. Now, sometimes that thought appears after a difficult moment. Maybe you shouted, or you lost your patience. Maybe your child cried and you didn't handle it in the way that you hoped you would. And in another moment, your mind jumps to something much bigger. What if I'm harming them? What if I'm getting this wrong? What if this leaves a lasting mark? And if you've ever had that spiral of thoughts, you're not alone because it's actually very normal. And even more so for parents who've had difficult childhoods themselves. Now, if you're thinking, yes, but Debs, I've really lost it, then don't worry, because stay with me, we're going to address that too. Many parents believe that children are fragile in a very particular way. They believe that if they make the wrong decision, say the wrong thing, or react badly in a moment of stress, that they might permanently damage their child. But that's not actually how children develop. Children are not shaped by the single moments, they are shaped by patterns of relationship over time. And that distinction matters enormously because parenting is not about getting every moment right. It's about what your child experiences consistently across the months and years of growing up with you. When we look at what really influences a child's development, three things matter far more than the isolated mistakes do. The first is emotional safety. Children thrive when they feel that their parent is fundamentally on their side, not perfect, not endlessly patient, but someone who is safe enough to come back to. The second is repair. Every parent gets it wrong. Every parent loses patience at times. What matters is whether the relationship can reconnect afterwards, that there is a level of emotional honesty. When a parent acknowledges, I was overwhelmed earlier, or I didn't handle that well, did I? Or I want to do better, let's try that again. That moment teaches a child something powerful, what a healthy relationship actually looks and feels like in a tangible way. The third is accountability for bigger moments. Sometimes parents don't just lose patience for a moment. Sometimes the reaction is bigger than that. Maybe you shouted in a way that frightened your child. Maybe you laid hands on them and hurt them. Maybe you said something you deeply regret afterwards. And when that happens, many parents spiral into the belief that they've done permanent harm. But here's the key: when a child sees a parent take responsibility, repair the situation, and even seek support if needed, it teaches them something profoundly important. Mistakes can be owned, relationships can be repaired, growth is possible. And seeing you take accountability shows children in those big moments, not handled perfectly, are taken seriously, and that you will repair and heal and get better outcomes. That kind of response is not damaging. In fact, it's one of the most important lessons a child can learn. It helps them to know what boundaries they should have with others. So instead of asking yourself, did I damage my child in that moment? What we need to do is zoom out and ask, What does the overall relationship between us feel like most of the time? Does your child experience warmth from you? Do you come back together after those difficult moments? Do they know deep down that you care about them? Do they see you getting support? And are they experiencing you do better by them in those really tough moments? Because those patterns matter far more than any single parenting mistake. One of the most helpful shifts parents can make is moving away from the idea that parenting is a series of pass or fail moments. It isn't. Parenting is an ongoing relationship, and relationships are allowed to be messy. They are allowed to include misunderstandings, frustration, and difficult days. And what shapes a child most powerfully is not perfection, it's the presence of a parent who keeps showing up, who keeps learning, who keeps reconnecting, who keeps growing into the parent that they want to be. And that kind of parenting is far more powerful than most people realize. So if that question, am I damaging my child, has ever weighed on you, then I hope that this has helped you let go of some of that weight, even just a little bit. For more grounded support for navigating parenting without losing yourself in it, check the pinned comment for an additional resource that many other parents have found very helpful. And if this conversation resonated with you, sometimes hearing from other parents navigating the same questions can be surprisingly reassuring. So you're welcome to share your thoughts in the comments as well. You are doing better than you think. You are learning something that doesn't come with a manual, figuring out how to regulate our own nervous system, what works, what doesn't, while simultaneously immersed in a challenging parenting experience. It doesn't always go well. However, if you want to thrive in that, I coach parents one-to-one to figure out how to do that well, and I'd love to support you as well. So if you'd like to get in touch, send me an email, which you can find in the channel description. Have a lovely day and speak soon.